Since it first appeared on the eShop, we have been playing Smash till we drop. And so we're coming to you with a much bigger, better perspective on the game and ready to bring you our review of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Gabe is here, and legitimately, we have been doing nothing but Smash Bros. We've got the full rosters. Gabe has completely cleared World of Light. I have been working my way through a whole bunch of Spirits, Classic Mode, Smashdown, and Squad Strike, and we're ready to discuss if this is, in fact, the Ultimate Package.
Zach, there is little to debate about that question in particular. I don't see how you can include very much else in this game and just not have it just blow up. The cartridge itself will probably blow up. There's just too much in it.
Yeah, if there was if the cartridge was a final Smash ball, then a little bit more just might turn it into one of those ones that just falls to the floor and just sits there. It is stuffed with content. I have been impressed, and my expectations have been exceeded. And one thing I want to make sure we discuss in this video, and I'd love to hear you guys' take in the comments, is are the review scores too high or too low? Right now it's sitting at a 93 Metacritic, with the majority of the big players putting their scores into the algorithm, and I think a very strong type of way about that score. Gabe, you I think feel a little differently, but we'll get there eventually. First, World of Light I think is where we need to start, because this was the mode that we were all waiting for. This was the last thing announced. This was the sort of under the wraps adventure single player content piece of the package that ended up being absolutely gargantuan.
Let me just start off by saying we're not going to spoil anything like very specific here. We're just going to talk about the size of the mode, but that's basically it. It is, in my opinion, a little too big is my take. And I know people don't like hearing that. Like, hey, like more is always better. Cool, that's fine. But also keep in mind that I powered through this, so maybe that it has a little bit of an effect on my thoughts on it. But there is so much to do in World of Light. It is longer than you think about it. Like think about World of Light and think about it like, hey, like that's actually pretty long. It's longer than that. There's just so much.
Can you say, and I don't think this is that much of a spoiler, how many spaces you cleared by the time you saw the credits roll?
550 something.
That's so insane to me. That's so insane. The spaces are the individual battles / challenges that you find in World of Light, and there are oodles of them. To quote Meek Mill, there are oodles and noodles of these spaces all over this massive map, and it's really impressive because that was what all along, Gabe, for Smash Bros. Ultimate. What is going to be the single player content? How much are they bringing? Is this just a remix version of the past games? They have the characters, they've got the new characters, everybody's here. We have Classic, of course, we've got Smash. This is wholly new, and it's 20 to 30 hours of content, maybe more if you go for 100%, maybe less if you just beeline through. But like, to me, that is such a game changer for something that should, by all accounts, be very multiplayer focused. Like, all of a sudden it has a massive single player mode, but do you feel like it is worth playing on its own? Is it enough of a fun experience that, hey, like, you got to spend 20 hours getting through this? It's totally worth your while.
Yeah, it's a really fun time. And I just now, while you were talking, booted up my Smash Brothers save file. Zach, I have cleared 545 spaces, and my completion percentage is 88.61. So I haven't done 100% of it, but I did beat it. There are some spaces
That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, I'll go back to some spaces, and there's New Game Plus. There's a lot here. And let me just talk about World of Light and what it is for a moment here. I think it should be applauded for how it celebrates the entire lifespan of Nintendo and other franchises. It is a celebration of video games. And, for a long time, Smash Brothers was called a celebration of Nintendo games. And now it's just a celebration of video games, period. Some of the callbacks and Easter eggs and locations that you see in World of Light, they are pure nostalgia. It's like an adrenaline shot of nostalgia, just like pumped right into you. Like, I can't. I'm trying to figure out a way to not spoil anything, but some of your favorite franchises in video games are going to be represented here in World of Light, and the way that they're there and the light puzzle elements bring a very cool mix-up to what is otherwise a slightly repetitive affair. I mean, when you're clearing this many spaces, it's going to get repetitive.
Right.
But when they introduce like little mini dungeons with like boss battles and completely different locales, and the music kicks in from your favorite friend. I mean, I could say Zelda. All right, so Zelda, like the Zelda representation in this, it blew my mind how cool that was. Just because of the location it is and the way it's all structured, the puzzle elements, I was like, oh my god, they are tapping into what Zelda is, and they're bringing it to World of Light, even though this is a fighting game. They somehow figured that out. The Easter eggs, right? We talk about the GameCube controller, like the Wiimote in that little town. There's so much there. It can be a little overbearing, but if you're probably playing at it at a little brisker of a pace than I was, I think
a little slower of a pace.
Oh, I said brisker, right? That's the opposite.
Yeah.
Well, no.
You were going so quickly.
I meant brisker because I was sprinting. Zach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I meant
compared to you, brisket is slow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Got it.
So yeah, if you maybe play through it like a little slower, yeah, you're gonna 100% find a ton of fun in it. And so did I. Like, don't get it twisted. It's just it was daunting for me, and it might be daunting for some other ones. But if you slow down and play it every once in a while, I'm sure that you were meant to play this like throughout like a week or a month or something. You weren't meant to play this throughout a day.
Yeah, I really do think that the crossovers, the celebration, as you said, that they incorporate here makes it stand out and makes it much more than just like, oh, hey, there's 500 challenges, click them. Or, oh, hey, you're going through challenge 1.1, challenge 1.2, challenge 1.3, so on and so forth. They did find a way to make it as featured and as fresh and fun as possible by incorporating so many little nuances from so many different games and oozing that through the environments, through the challenges, through the spirits, through the way the battles take shape. Let's speak on the difficulty of the mode. Do you feel like this trains you to be a better Smash Bros. Player? Do you feel like it progressively gets harder, or was it a case of the only barrier was merely numerical, and as you progress, you were able to clear the higher and higher team strength thresholds that you come against, with ease?
All right. Zach, I think that this trains you to be a bad Smash Brothers player.
Oh. On the competitive front, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the challenges, like in World of Light, like you'll have like a ton of enemies, right? And it happens often where you have like miniature enemies, but there's like 5 of them at the 4 or 5 of them on the screen at the time. And playing as Kirby, you resort to like a down smash or something, and you just do it over and over and over again. So it just trains you to play that way. And when you've been doing it for so long, you try to go into a little bit of competitive stuff, you find that some of those habits tend to carry over. So,
yes.
Yeah, it might actually be a disadvantage. It's very cool to get into like the spirits and, hey, this is a poison-filled level, so let's find a spirit that makes me immune to poison. That aspect of it is very cool. I love the discovery of that. But, I'd be lying if I said that it didn't instill some bad habits in me that I didn't wish were there.
Did the challenge, though, was that on point, regardless of what it required of you? Did you feel like, hey, like it was progressively more difficult and that you were building to something? I know early on you can kind of breeze through, as long as you have the team strength advantage, you can kind of breeze through a lot of those early spaces. Were there ones that got you stuck for a while? Were there ones that made you sort of rethink how you had to play? And did you find that to be a the difficulty, the curve, was it where you'd like it to be?
I think the difficulty is like perfectly fine. And also, to be clear, World of Light has difficulty options. You can play easy, normal, or hard. So if whatever option you're currently at, if you're not finding enough challenge, bump it up to hard. You can get more rewards. Bump it down to easy. You'll get less rewards, but the experience will be a little easy. I went through it on normal, and it's not necessarily a curve. It's more sporadic. It's like a seismic wave. Because you will have points that are just like easy no matter where you are, even like late in the game. Like there were there were battles where I hit a character once and the battle's over. Like it lasts it lasts like 3 seconds. But even closer to the beginning of the game, there are some battles that just they require the spirit that I maybe didn't have yet. And you know me as a person, I'm very hard headed, and I like to try to like push things through. I don't like giving up on things. So
Right.
yeah, I'll sit there and play this one battle for maybe 30 minutes when I shouldn't, just because I'm trying to get it done without the spirit. But sometimes it was too difficult, so I would have to come back. Coming back to it kind of negates some of the difficulty there, but I was happy with it overall. I never thought like, oh, this is like too easy, like in general. I never thought like, hey,
Sure.
this is too hard in general. Every once in a while, I have a little bit of both. That's why I call it like seismic wave. It went up and down.
Yeah, and there's some really good surprises that we're not going to spoil, and it's one of those cases where the mode is much larger than you may think, and I think that's very cool. As we carry across into other modes, spirits in general, to me, are still such a welcome surprise. Early on, I felt like spirits were going to be a bummer, but they are very cool. Being able to make a team surrounded around my lanky calling spirit makes me so freaking happy. And being able to implement and put in Rock Mario from Galaxy, it's a ton of just nostalgic enjoyment. And I really feel the spirit board is an underrated mode that it may seem very simple, but it's a great way to go and grab more spirits to use in your World of Light adventure, and just a very fun way to flip through challenges and see how the developers chose to incorporate a specific character or spirit with a battle type, right? They do a really good job of finding ways to utilize the tools that they have to create a scenario that does sort of feel like the spirit. And is it ever one-to-one? No. Is it oftentimes kind of goofy? Yes. But I love just seeing the creativity and the quirky ways that they are able to sort of merge whatever the spirit is with what they've got to work with in Smash Bros. And they have a ton. The roster is huge. The roster is plentiful. It's a really... I think it turned out really, really well. The newcomers, I think, are all very cool. I'm a little bit less passionate about Isabelle and Inkling, but I'm incredibly passionate about Ridley, K. Rool, and Incineroar, so I really like the assortment of new characters. The unlock system, I don't know how you felt about it, Gabe, but I like that there are many paths to unlock the characters. Some I wish had more specific, like, hey, if you play, 10 hours, you get Mewtwo. Or, hey, if you, win 50 versus battles, you're going to get Roy. It's a little bit more random, maybe, than some players would like, but I do appreciate that you can go about unlocking them in a plethora of ways and basically, like, play the game and you're going to get the roster.
Yeah, and they have to be plentiful just because there's so many characters. I mean, when you're over 70 characters in, like, yeah, you're going to need to keep these unlocks coming at one point or another. There is a system to unlock everybody super quickly. You can do it within a couple hours if you want to, but I almost feel like that like cheats you out of the experience, because it's very cool to see like the anticipation that builds. Like, oh my god, like I know I'm gonna unlock like another character soon. Like, here, brother, play another match with me, so the next one can come in. Like that magic,
Right.
like we kind of skipped on it a little bit by doing this method to unlock everyone, but yeah. It's still really cool. I love unlocking characters in World of Light because you see them in a map and you know that there's a character coming up and you have no idea who it is, really. I mean, you can...
Yeah, like that. It's like almost like a booster pack of like, oh gosh, who am I going to get over here? There is definitely a lot of enjoyment there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoy it.
Spirits, I think, turned out to be a real success. Sakurai came up with a really cool idea, incorporating a whole lot of
Here,
as you said, like...
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I can talk about Spirits for a second just because
Yeah.
I didn't chime in. They're a really good addition, but it can be a little overwhelming because like there's so many of them, and at some point you just have dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds. Like getting the right teams and leveling them all up, like it's not like hard or anything. But there's a lot that goes into it. You can like put them in a dojo to alter their stats. Do you want their attack to be like higher? Do you want their defense to be lower? Like, how do you want all that to go? Like, it can get like pretty hardcore. So I can see how that would be like intimidating for more casual players. And if you have all of this constantly being thrown at you, I can imagine a person could be like slightly like put off by him. Like, hey, like I just unlocked this other cool spirit. Now I have this other one. I can't equip them both because they're both main spirits. Like, what should I like? And you're going to get them constantly. So while cool, I do think that they present like a slight issue for casual players.
Well, what I like to do once I had a ton of them was I kind of randomized. I let the computer, if you press the Y button, it'll select like hey, seems like a really good lineup for this battle, and you can kind of scroll through that and get a bunch of like maybe not they're not the best combos, but a bunch of really good combos. And I like doing that just to test out different spirits, at least for my secondary spirits. Not the primary spirits that picking myself was, I thought, pretty fun, but for those attached spirits, it was the support spirits. It was really cool to just kind of cycle through and see like, oh, like all of a sudden now I have a ray gun to start the battle. All of a sudden I regain health when I'm in a very dire situation. All of a sudden I am resistant to poison. All of a sudden I move faster, and I like just having the option to kind of just randomize what I was going to get, because it's a benefit. And maybe I haven't got to the World of Light segments where you need very specific spirits, but I did enjoy kind of just letting the game help me out in that way. And maybe that's a decent tip for players who are feeling a bit overwhelmed. And if you are feeling overwhelmed by spirits, there's tons of other stuff to do outside. I think Squad Strike is maybe the greatest addition outside of World of Light to the game. I think that mode is something that we have been yearning for in that kind of way for a long time. However they were going to create it, something that allows you to pick multiple characters and go to work. It is so much fun. They have 3 different rule sets by which you can experience Squad Strike. One where it's just a continuous battle, one where it stops between each fight, and one where it's lining up one by one by one. But seeing the character select in a way where you get to pick 3 and then secretly decide your order, it is so cool. I think it cannot be said enough how important that mode is to this game, and it's the one that I'm going to honestly play the most. I think that is my favorite way to experience Smash Brothers this time around, and I'm so glad that they included it.
Yeah, I mean, the new modes in general, I think they're both like tremendous additions. They're not revolutions to fighting games, but they're new to Smash, and that's okay. Having that on top of what we already know and love, and having even the option for variety is always a good thing.
For sure. Smashdown, the elimination style mode, where each time you and your opponent pick a character, they're removed from the screen. That's like a really cool way. And I think they do a lot in this game to encourage you checking out other characters. The roster is huge. I mean, I think teetering on the line of just like massive scope and scale and overwhelm is what this game is constantly coping with. And there are moments where you could be like, you know what, I'm a Link player and I'm going to stick with Link. But things like Smashdown encourage you to check out other characters. Things like Squad Strike and things like World of Light, where you get sort of a less your order is going to be different depending on where you choose to explore the map and how you decide to go about, and being able to, hey, I'm going to, Gabe, you and I got in this Kirby cult where we were just using Kirby over and over again. But once you start adding other guys, it's fun to switch and flip them out. And I think that the randomized order of unlocks being that your first character was King K. Rool, and one of your last was Incineroar, whereas for me, Incineroar was very early on, and maybe I got some of the more common fighters later. It does encourage and allows you to spread across the 74. The online, we haven't had a ton of time with it, but so far so good. I do like the arenas that you can create. I think tournaments are really cool. I've seen some people complain about lag, but in general, I think it works pretty darn well. It was seamless for us, so that's kind of all we can talk on.
Yeah, I mean, I've played way more online than you at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I can speak to it a little bit more now. Like, there is some lag, but I feel like that's just a product of the game just now coming out and millions of people, like, crashing on the servers when they weren't there before. So right. I feel like all that stuff will even out as people, time passes. It's going to be 100% fine. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. But there is some lag sometimes. But hey, playing online against other people, really, really fun. I mean, I dream for the day where you can just like talk to like someone like randomly and like just some more 2019 online gameplay methods would be great. But what's here, I absolutely love it. I love jumping in and playing against random, seeing how good, like, man, people are way better at Smash than I thought they were. Like, there's so many people are just like amazing, and I love seeing that. Just a small like tidbit I want to talk about. We'll continue to talk about the online here. But already seeing the competitive players like get their combo videos out, like that's something that to me is like just a little side piece. I'm not a competitive Smash player by any means. I don't even consider myself good at the game. But seeing them take this the way they are and being really happy with it is a real treat. But yeah, I'm having a ton of fun with the online. Just be careful because you might be like matched up with some insane people.
Yeah, it's it's fun to find out that we're pretty darn mediocre because
Yeah.
there are, you can spectate and go in there and just watch some really cool stuff happen. We haven't even touched on classic mode, which I think for me feels like one of the weakest elements of the game. I think that minigame is really bad, and it's sad to me that they didn't choose to bring all the mini games back together. That would have been really fun, and to me it's one of the only times I feel like, they could have done better. But classic mode is there. They have their own paths for each character. There are some cool bosses that obviously we won't spoil and that you can get into. I wish there was a little more variety, but it still is, hey, it's still the classic Smash mode if you want to experience it. And again, it just provides another option, another way to enjoy this game. There's all the music. There are all of the, the stages, of course. There's all the sound bites. There's just so much jam-packed in here. It's really hard to touch on it all. With that being said, though, we could talk Smash for hours, but I do want to touch on where the review scores are. It's a 93 on Metacritic. We kind of looked at the history of Smash Bros. And outside of the first game, which received lower marks, this is right about where they have sat, 92, 93, in that range. Gabe, I gotta say, like, for me, this time around, I feel like it is being underrated. I feel like this is such a perfect realization of everything Smash Bros. I feel like it's not only a bringing together of all that Smash Bros. Was, but it has leapt the series forward with this massive adventure mode in World of Light that is, it's humongous. This is not a small undertaking. This isn't something that was thrown in just to, appease fans. It is a well-crafted mode that has so many callbacks and Easter eggs and little nods, and it is truly a Nintendo fan's, dream map. I look at a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, and I know that they're incomparable head-to-head, but man, I feel like this game is polished and sound and perfect in almost every way. I do feel like a 9.3, as silly as it sounds, is underrated for what they have brought to the cartridge.
Yeah, no, I can't relate even a tiny bit to what you're saying. Like, you're saying a 93 is low? Ugh.
I feel like this game is near perfect. I don't know what much more you could have done except the minigame thing and except like a few ways in which you unlock characters or some more specificity. I mean, obviously, no game is going to be perfect. Red Dead Redemption 2 has plenty of problems, and this game also has a few of them. But man, I feel like this is as home run of an experience as you're ever going to get as a video game player. I feel like it should be the top-rated game on Switch for how sound it is and how ultimate it is in every way. I mean, you look at the past Smashes, and if those are 92s and 93s, you could say, like, oh, well, all they've done here is bring it together. But no, they have done so much more. Spirits and World of Light, Smashdown and Squad Strike, the inclusion of all characters and new ones. We've got the Coming Fighter Pack. This really is the ultimate Smash Bros. And I feel like it should be rewarded as such. And to me, if any game was going to get a 10, I feel like it should be this one.
I mean, the game got 10s in places, and we're talking dumb semantics, honestly. Like, in my head. Like, what's the difference between a 93 and a 97? Like, come on.
Sure, I mean, you could say that scores don't matter in general, but they are out there. It's a very significant piece of the gaming landscape, and I'm surprised that there are games this year that have scored higher when I think that this is, I don't know what argument you make to remove any points from this game. I mean, maybe you take 0.1 or 0.2 away because of, oh, you personally don't like this or you personally don't like that.
There's people that don't even review in points at all, so they'll take a point away because it looks very similar to the last Smash Brothers game, and it's a new game in my head. I'm not saying like it's a remake.
I think for me they've proved that so effectively. They've proven that this is not just the port that we worried about in the early days of its announcement. This is not.
Oh no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, so they have done so much here, and I'm sure they're very happy sitting in the mid-9s on Metacritic. I'm sure the sales are going to be gangbusters regardless of whatever a review site says. I just feel like, as a hardcore gamer and as someone who does follow review scores obsessively, like if there was a time to really push it as close to perfect as you can, this was it. And I do personally feel a little sad that it sits below some other games when I feel Sakurai and the entire team, everyone on board, has crafted a nearly perfect game. And even compared to Smash 4, I think this game looks better. I think it has so much more to offer. It is, to me, the most fun to play. There are so many options. Like, to say it's similar, yes, in the same way that Mario games are similar, in the same way that fighting games in general are similar. But it really does, to me, deserve more.
Yeah, I'm never gonna complain about a game that has a 93 on Metacritic. Like, cool, if you think it deserves a 95, like, I mean, it's so trivial to me. Like, the game's getting love. It's gonna get like Game of the Year recognition for like fighting game. Like, it's gonna do really well. I don't even know what we're talking about there. Like, I can't relate to anything you're saying. Like, you want higher than a 9? Like, again, not every review site even operates on like point systems. I mean, they do, but they're on a 20-point scale or whatever, where it's 9 out of 10. They don't do like 9.2 or 9.3. Like, so
sure. I just think as someone who is typically very critical of games, the fact that this has appealed to me in such a way is surprising. I knew that Smash was going to be good. I knew I was going to be excited for it. I knew that it was going to be one of the best games of the year. But I think I'm genuinely shocked at how incredible it is and how perfect it is, and it quickly becomes a game that it is very hard to think of others that you'd recommend first for the Switch. If you have people to play against, if you have any sort of family, friend circle that likes gaming, like, this is the game.
What if you live in a mountain by yourself?
I mean, World of Light, there's 550 some spaces to clear, so that's going to take you.
You're right.
That's going to take you a lot. And honestly, it's World of Light that, to me, just mandates that this game gets above a 93 because there is so much on both sides of the equation. I know that Subspace was like a great mode
it's a little long.
a few generations ago, but to me, this is so much more content, and it's so much cooler because of all the effort, stated reasons. It's a phenomenal game. We could talk about it for hours and sing its praises. We have tons of other videos that highlight and showcase different elements of the package. I'd love to know what you guys think about the scores and how you feel this game was received, and if you feel like it's low or if you feel like it's high or if you don't really care and just want to enjoy it. Either way, Gabe, let's close out here with one of our favorite moments from our just bull rush through the game.
I can't talk about them.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Well,
just
know that there are lots of favorite moments. Yeah,
they're like actual like deep spoilers to World of Light. Like,
yeah, that's a fair point. You got me there. I will say that the first time I played Squad Strike, even though, as you said, it's something that has been seen in other fighting games for a long time, the fact that it's an innovation for the Smash series, just so fun to assemble a team of King K. Rool, Pichu, and Zero Suit Samus. Like that. Like, what a wonderful world, right? Like in a year
what if there's a mode that you can only play as those 3 characters? Those 3 specific ones, and I don't know why you went with them 3, but
it's an eclectic mix, and I just think it's a beautiful thing, and I'm having a blast with it. It's a game that I want to just keep playing, and it's that darn good. I'm super curious to see what sales are like, especially in comparison to Pokemon Let's Go.
Do you think it breaks the 3? For context for people, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee sold 3 million in the first week, and it's important to note they had 2 versions of it. So some people went and bought both, I guess. Like, there has to be a small percentage of people that did that. So
I think it's got a shot. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I think it'll be close.
Okay, all right. I'm very interested. I can't wait till the numbers come in.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep tabs on that. In the meantime, guys and girls, Smash Bros., as I basically said, if a game was ever going to get a 10, this would be it for me. Gabe, I know you might sound like you disagree with that, but I know that you're also insanely high on.
Yeah, no, I love the game. I don't disagree that the game's a 10. Like, yeah, like, sure, cool, give it a 10. But the only thing that I just can't get on board with were like, and not that you've said this, but anybody that says, "Oh, this is a 94, not a 93," like that, yeah. I'm like, okay, you lost me. I don't know what that means.
Different strokes for different folks, but we're still on the same page that Smash Bros. Ultimate truly is ultimate. So have no fear about picking this up at full price. In fact, you should. It's that darn good. And
Pay extra.
yeah, go get that fighter pack. Go get
Yeah.
that Pro controller. Go get that limited edition dock and Joy-Con.
Give it a
console
charity
set.
in the name of Smash Brothers.
Go get 5 copies and give 4 to your favorite friends, and get a 6th for your least favorite friend to make their year.
Yeah, so you
better
can beat
as well.
them while you're Pichu.
Exactly. Oh, you know what we should do? I know I just keep thinking of one more thing, but favorite way to play, favorite kind of controller, favorite.
I've exclusively played Pro Controller. I've done 2 rounds in handheld. That's like I haven't done anything else.
I am a GameCube controller fan. That's the way for me, and it just feels the most natural, and
Yeah.
probably forever will. But it's totally fine on Pro Controller. It's a little crampy on handheld, but I have still like my World of Light time is handheld. Just taking that with me and getting a few spaces done. It's so perfect for that.
Zach, I want you to. All right, when you're playing World of Light, there'll be like areas that are like on the beach or whatever. Only play through those areas while you're on the beach. Like
Yeah.
if you're like in a
I have to
forest
go to
area,
town. Yeah.
If you're in a forest area, you have to find a forest. Like you can't.
There's the Nuzlocke run for World of Light right there.
Yeah.
You can only move forward if you are in a similar locale. Well, we're going to take you to a different locale right now, and that locale is a different video, or maybe off YouTube entirely, because this is wrapping up. Thanks so much, guys and girls, for being here. Thanks for supporting us throughout the year and for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We super appreciate it. We still have lots more to go in terms of videos on the channel, some real exciting stuff, and they'll be spoiler tagged, but some of those, some awesome late game adventures that we just are so excited about. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, everybody, have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and Smash Bros. Until next time, for myself and Gabe, SwitchForce out.